spent all day yesterday with a friend putting the well pump and well pipe into the well casing that was dug for me. And now the breaker is immediately tripping as soon as I turn it on. So I'm going to pull this out today and we'll see how this goes. It is just such a pretty day out here today. It really sucks to be basically having to undo an entire day's work, like the whole day's worth of work that I did yesterday. But here we are. It needs to be done, and I want to have some well water before the winter, and I don't want to be out here working if it gets too much colder. I have the safety rope run up to the pulley, which is suspended from the bucket of the tractor. Run over to my truck, and I turn my truck around facing this way. That way I could kind of see the rope to make sure I don't put too much pressure on it as I'm pulling it up, make sure it doesn't get in a bind. Hopefully if I lose my pump down the well, I'll at least get some clicks on this video. Jesus Christ. So this is the pitless adapter. I have it all disconnected. I have pressure on the line. I need to reset the tractor. I'm a little bit too far forward. I put this pipe wrench around the pipe, so if that pipe goes to drop, it'll cinch up that pipe wrench in there, and it should hold on to the pipe and it shouldn't drop. I'm not happy with any of this. I would much rather have a couple people here helping me and have layers of redundancy in the system on how we're pulling this thing up to keep any one thing from failing or even two things from failing. But I'm here by myself, I got to do it, so we're just kind of making do, going slow, really trying to think about what I do before I do it. Try not to create more work for myself down the line. Like I said, I think it's either a short in the pump, which is crazy because it's brand new, or I damaged the wire going down into the well, which is also kind of crazy because it's brand new. So what I'm going to do is clean these wires off, kind of take the insulation off of them. Okay, so here's what I found. This is the end that I cut off of the well pump. This goes from the well pump up to the disconnect and the pressure switch at the top of the well casing. So this is the wire that I thought may have gotten damaged as we were putting it down into the casing, and it looks like it is. So the two hots, I'm assuming you can hear that. Two hots have come into contact with one another. So I'm going to cut this off. This is the section I covered with silicone where the Romex, underground Romex, meets the actual wires coming off the well pump. Bloop. Got the outer coating off. Pop the inner coating off. And going to test it again, hoping that... All right. Somewhere in this bundle of nonsense where I spliced the two wires together, if this was not watertight, water could have seeped in and caused the short. Knowing how to use a multimeter is so incredibly useful. With the multimeter, I was able to rule out that it wasn't the breaker that was bad. It was not the length of wire that goes from the breaker box to the actual well casing. The pressure switch, for science. I'm gonna cut this open. Now everything seems dry. I am completely embarrassed that I did that. For some reason or another, I can shrink wrap the two hots together. So, I mean, problem solved. That was it. Oh, let's try not to do that again. I got this hooked up, smeared silicone all over it, and I'm gonna let this cure for the day, cure for the night. I'll come out here the next morning and should be ready to go ahead and put it back in. Try this whole freaking thing again. All right, so we got everything set up now. Putting it back in was very easy. It didn't cause that much of an issue at all. Got everything hooked up. I'm gonna go out here to the shed, which is where I have the electric run. I'm gonna turn the breaker on, go back, plug the disconnect in, make sure it's kicking on. I'm gonna let this thing run a little bit, see how it goes. I just got over here. I've got the PEX run here to my cabin, but it's not actually hooked up yet. The well digger guy told me to let it run for like 3 to 4 hours to let all the sediment and mud and everything clear out. This is what it looks like. It's got a bit of a, I think that's sediment from the rocks. So Kentucky, we have a lot of limestone. Limestone's pretty white, chalky looking. That's what most of the bedrock is around here. So I am guessing that this is just a bunch of the limestone that got broke up, all the limestone dust from the actual well digging that's kind of gets stirred up in the water. So I've got some beans and cornbread that I made in my cast iron skillet on my wood stove, and I'm going to sit and eat this while I look at my water.